Hello, my name is Eliza Sylvia, and I am currently a graduate student here at the University of Guelph. I would like to welcome you to the Ontario Agricultural College Convocation Ceremony this afternoon. The University of Guelph is honored by our graduates, and we take great pride in this convocation. I'd like to tell you a little bit about the proceedings today. The ceremonials used for conferring degrees have evolved over a millennium, and the gowns and hoods represent that history. In general, the gowns for the baccalaureate and magisteriate degrees are black, and the color of the hood is different for each degree program. The doctorates at the University of Guelph have a bright blue gown, and the honorary degrees are red. The University of Guelph crest that you can see on the curtains behind me and on the front of your convocation program also represents our specific history. The emblems on the crest show links to the royal city of Guelph through the white stallion above, the connection to liberal arts through the book, to the sciences through the astrolabe, and to our connection to abundance and agriculture through the cornucopia. The University of Guelph motto, Rerum cognoscere cosas, is a quote from Virgil. It is variously translated to be either happy is the one who is able to ascertain the reason of things, or perhaps to know the meaning of things. The procession of people into the hall is also influenced by ancient tradition. The piper will herald the start of the procession of graduates, the students who are coming to graduate today. This will be followed by the arrival of the mace, leading the platform party. The mace is a symbol of authority of the university and will be carried by the beadle. In medieval universities, a beadle was chosen by instructors to work as an assistant. Today, the beadle is the ceremonial officer of Senate. Following the beadle and mace is the chancellor and president, members of the administration and honorees, fellows of the university, members of the board and senate, and members of faculty and staff. The degrees will be conferred in the order that you see in your program. These degrees are separated by categories representing the specific degree being awarded within the college. The name reader will present the scholars to the president and chancellor by degree category. As the name of each student is called, the beadle will place the hood over the recipient's shoulders. This moment will be videoed, and technology willing, there will be a simultaneous live cast of the event to allow family members and friends to watch from a distance. The president will greet each student at center stage, and a photograph will be taken. We understand the joy and excitement that accompanies such an auspicious occasion, but we ask that you hold your applause until after each group of graduates has crossed the stage. There will be an opportunity for a truly thunderous applause. Once all the degrees are conferred and all the cheers are cheered, the chancellor will close the ceremony and a recessional will play. Please remain standing during the recessional until all of the platform party has processed out of the hall. Our colleagues from Alumni Affairs are hosting a social media program developed especially for convocation. Please share your photos, advice, and memories with graduating students by joining us on social media and using the hashtag #GuelphGrad. Finally, may I be the first person to congratulate the graduates on their various successes and offer my congratulations to the family and friends who are here to support them today. Welcome to Convocation at the University of Guelph.
With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Let us pause for a brief moment and reflect with our whole selves on our unique journeys, our distinct callings, and our place in this complex and mysterious world. In this moment, we acknowledge the Attawandaron people, on whose traditional territory the University of Guelph now stands. We offer our respect to their Haudenosaunee, Anishinaabe, and Métis neighbors. We remember that the world as we experience it is not the world as it has always been. Furthermore, it is not the world as it must always be. In this moment, we give thanks for those friendships that have blessed us over the course of our studies. We are grateful to those who have supported us and held us up, for the journey has been long and the traveling hard. I invite you now to embrace a short silence, and in your own way, be it through prayer or remembrance or thoughtful affirming, recognize that for which you are grateful. And now, as we open ourselves to a new season of life, may the knowledge that we have attained here be coupled with wisdom, colored with compassion, and marked with humility. May we embrace each new opportunity in ways that honor creation, that foster community, and defends the dignity of all people. And may the mystery of life and each new moment bring us laughter and delight as we seek to be agents of grace and peace and hope for this world. Amen. You may be seated.
Good afternoon. I am delighted to officially open this 2017 University of Guelph Convocation ceremony and welcome everyone here. President Vaccarino, members of the board, honorary fellows, faculty, staff, family and friends of the graduates. Today, as we celebrate the achievements of our graduating students, I'd like to offer particular welcome to today's honorary degree recipient, Ricky Yada, who I'll introduce shortly. My name is Martha Billis, and I have the honor of serving as Chancellor here at the University of Guelph. And what an honor it is to be here today back at my University of Guelph, my alma mater. I think back to when I was in your shoes, proud to be a Mac Institute graduate and anxious to take on the next challenge around the corner. Problem is, we do not always know what is coming or how we're going to get there. Today, I want to instill in you a belief my dean, Margaret McCready, instilled in me years ago. She was full of advice, but most often said, "Remember, ladies, you are Mac girls, and Mac girls can do anything." And she was right. I stand before you today to proudly and confidently tell you that the education I received here gave me the wherewithal to go out and strive beyond what I thought I was capable of. Since the days of its founding colleges, the University of Guelph has been a leader in practical education focused on the whole person. The university has fostered an environment that encourages its community of students to aim higher, to make things better, to be more productive, to turn preconceived notions on their head, to make a difference, to improve life. My education opened doors and offered windows on the world I could not have imagined. Half a century later, those things are still happening here at this fantastic institution. Graduands, your windows are waiting. It's your turn. Your turn to make a difference and to improve life for ourselves and for others. I know you can do it because you are, after all, a University of Guelph graduate, and you can do anything. Good luck to you all. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Franco Vaccarino, and I have the honor and the great privilege of serving as the President and Vice Chancellor of the University of Guelph. Well, graduates, this is your big day. You have worked very hard, you've persevered, and you've made it. Well done, well deserved. Think fast. Think fast. We've all heard that expression. You don't often hear anyone telling you to think slow. But my main message today is twofold. Think fast and think slow. As a psychologist, I'm naturally inclined and interested in the cognitive sciences, neurosciences, the behavioral sciences, and speaking as well as a parent of university-aged children, I believe your minds are somewhat different from those of your parents' generation. We see how you absorb information, how you interact with and through information technology. Young people today are very, very, very good at coping with lots of information and shifting their attention accordingly. Your brains have fundamentally adapted to a very fast-paced world. Today, we are navigating a river of knowledge, one that is growing larger, flowing faster all the time. New ideas are coming at us at an absolutely unprecedented pace. New innovations, new ways of connecting the dots, new ways of understanding the world. We need to process more and more and more information in the same amount of time. We need to think faster. We might call that fast thinking a kind of reactive thinking. We need to react. Reactive thinking is a sort of tactical thinking. It's what helps a driver negotiate the twists and turns of the road from moment to moment. But of course, there's another kind of thinking, reflective thinking or slow thinking. Takes a more strategic view, broader view. Not that I'm suggesting you think more slowly in the literal sense. I'm really talking about a different channel, a different kind of thought, different way of approaching a problem than tactical or reactive. In our fast-paced world, universities are increasingly important places for both kinds of thinking. Reactive thinking, fast thinking that addresses the now, and there's plenty to deal with in the now. But also reflective thinking that rises above the here and now to take the long view and consider the broader context, to consider tomorrow, consider the day after. As students at the University of Guelph, you have benefited during the past few years from an environment that has challenged your thinking, an environment that nurtures freedom of thought, expression, inquiry, an environment that promotes and supports openness to new ideas, one that invites varied perspectives, different perspectives on a problem or an opportunity. We've tried to encourage you to exercise both reactive as well as reflective thinking. We've stressed the kind of thinking that enables you not just to provide the right answers, but importantly, to ask the right questions. And these questions are becoming more and more important. We've looked to nurture thinking that is disciplined and thinking that is interdisciplinary, that draws upon diverse experiences, diverse points of view. That kind of thinking is even more, I would say ever more important in a world where the challenges and opportunities we face are certainly larger and certainly more complex than ever. Now, big problems and big opportunities need lots of minds thinking together on solutions. Now, not just like minds, but unlike minds, from varied backgrounds, from different perspectives. You know, there's a proverb, and it's a terrific proverb, one of my favorite proverbs, in African origin, I think, and it goes something like this: if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Well, you're about to explore and discover the next phase of your lives, including, I hope, finding ways to improve life for others around you and in the wider world. So go together, think fast, and think slow. Thank you very much.
Madam Chancellor, on the recommendation of the Senate of the University of Guelph, it is a great honor to present to you the candidate Ricky Yoshio Yada for the degree of Doctor of Science honoris causa. Professor Ricky Yada has made important contributions to science and its administration in Canada. During his 30-year tenure at the University of Guelph, Professor Yada led scientific developments in understanding the molecular biology of important food-related enzymes. As the first Tier 1 Canada Research Chair in the Department of Food Science, he stood at the forefront of scientific research in his field. Dr. Yada has championed and profoundly influenced food research in Canada. He has chaired several committees for the Natural Sciences and Engineering Research Council of Canada and was the founder and scientific director of the Advanced Food Materials Network, a network of centers of excellence. Through his involvement in national and international government, academic, and industry panels and committees, Dr. Yada has helped develop world-class food science research in Canada. As Dean of the Faculty of Land and Food Systems at the University of British Columbia, Dr. Yada continues to promote the growth, development, and quality of agri-food research in Canada. This honorary degree from the University of Guelph recognizes the wide-reaching and profound impact Dr. Yada's scientific and administrative work as a champion of food and agricultural research in Canada and worldwide. I ask you, Madam Chancellor, to confer upon Ricky Yada the degree of Doctor of Science honoris causa.
By the authority of the Senate of the University of Guelph, I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Science. Now, I am pleased to invite Dr. Ricky Yada to be your convocation speaker. Ricky?
Thank you, Madam Chancellor.
Thank you, Madam Chancellor. Madam Chancellor, Mr. President, distinguished platform guests, faculty and staff, friends and family, and of course, the graduating class of 2017. Let me start off by thanking the University of Guelph for bestowing on me this honorable degree and honorary degree. I'm truly proud, humbled, and honored. But before I start my convocation talk, let me start off with a preamble. So for those of you who bet that I wasn't going to wear shorts, too bad. For those of you who said I was going to wear shorts, you're going to have a financial gain. You know, I'm always quite nervous before I give a talk or a lecture, and this is no exception. In fact, this is more horrifying to me. But when I got the letter from President Vaccarino about this award, you know, I was humbled and honored, and it was kind of out of the park feeling. But then when I was asked to give the convocation talk, and it was a 10-minute slot, and, you know, I thought, ooh, no PowerPoint. Yike, what would I do? You know, and I'm a techno peasant, so I don't use a tablet either. So I've reverted back to Fred Flintstone, and I'm doing handwritten notes. So I apologize if I stumble along the way. But let me first of all congratulate the class of 2017. For many of you, it has been a journey of the proverbial blood, sweat, and tears. You know, as I think about the students I have been involved with at OAC, I'm sure you'll miss many things, your friends, your professors, the scenery, the good times banquet. But I wonder how many of you will miss that proverbial early morning, well, let me change that up, not so early morning breakfast at Squirrel Tooth Alice's after Aggie beer night. So I hope you miss those things, okay? So let me start into the convocation talk. The University of Guelph has given me much already, and this is a wonderful honor. Truly, it's the icing on the cake. You know, Guelph holds a very special place in my heart. I spent 30 years here as a faculty member in food science in the OAC. The majority of my career, in fact, I spent more years here than I had been on the earth. So it was a very, very special place. And it really shaped my career, and it shaped the person who I am today. Now, leaving Guelph 3 years ago to take up the role of dean at UBC was not an easy decision. For in doing so, I was leaving a superb university, wonderful friends and colleagues. However, I was faced with an opportunity, the chance to return to BC, where I grew up and still had family, and to work at UBC, the institution where I completed all my degrees. The one thing I've learned throughout my life is that opportunity often only knocks once, and you need to answer that door. Something my father always talked to me about. I do hope that you will answer those many doors that you face along your career path. My career has really been one more by accident than by design, and has unexpectedly led me to all sorts of exciting places and situations, all because I answered that door when opportunity knocked. It was about going outside of my comfort zone, for in going beyond your comfort zone, it avoids the shoulda, coulda thought. And hopefully you don't have too many of those. Well, when I was a kid, I always assumed I'd go to university, and my plan was to get my BSc, get a job, and make money. Well, I had a plan, and even if it didn't exactly know what I was wanting to take in university, I knew I was going. You know, my brothers had both gone to UBC, and there was an expectation from my family and from myself that I would follow in their footsteps. Well, in the first year, everything sort of went according to a plan. I wanted to do something in science. But then in the second year, I had a very inspiring instructor, and I think many of you have had that inspiring instructor at OAC. He was an inspiring instructor in the area of microbiology, and it convinced me that microbiology was for me. I had found my niche. And then I started my third year, and I soon realized that, in fact, microbiology wasn't for me. This wasn't great news. I was disheartened, and I didn't know what my next step would be or where I'd end up. And this is where opportunity, part of my story in a year or so earlier, comes in. I had received a letter from the department chair of food science at UBC. He was trying to recruit second-year students into food science, and he had identified me as a potential student. Well, at that time, I was still very much interested in becoming a microbiologist, so I stuck the letter into my desk drawer and forgot about it. Lesson: don't throw anything out, okay? And if you see my office at Land and Food Systems at UBC, I've started to build my own wall, a paper wall. And given the situation south of us, I guess I was before my time. Well, at the end of my third year, when I was floundering about what direction to take, I found the letter as I was cleaning out my desk drawer. I set up an appointment with Dr. Powery, and he convinced me to try food science. He even offered me a scholarship. Wow, a scholarship. Nothing like a scholarship to help you make a decision. Opportunity was definitely knocking, but I had to admit, I was a little weary. I didn't have too many transferable credits, and I really didn't want to have to repeat my third year. But my mom gave me some great advice. She said, "What's 1 year out of the rest of your life?" Of course, she was right, as moms usually are, but at the time, a year felt like an eternity. Still, I felt like I had some direction, and I was excited about that. And the more I learned about food science, the more I realized it was the perfect fit for me. I loved that I could apply some of the principles I was learning and create tangible things that you could find on the grocery store shelf. I think the principle of seeing science in action is one of the strengths of OAC, and hopefully you experienced that also. Well, by the end of my third year in science, I received another knock on the door. I was hired to work at a local BC food company between my third and fourth years. The company made all sorts of food products, including mixtures that you would add alcohol to make fancy drinks like Tom Collins. Now, some of the parents may or may not recognize that name, but they were all these fancy drinks. As an added bonus in that job, we had to test the mixtures with real alcohol. So by the end of the day, I'm not sure how objective we were about the evaluations. Funny how things tasted better at the end of the day. Well, that job was a wonderful experience for me because it allowed me to see food science in action. I gained practical skills in everything from driving a forklift, which was so cool, to janitorial services to product development. Now, one of the coolest things about that experience was the fact that we developed a spicy tomato cocktail. And by the end of the summer, we ended up producing it, and it ended up on the supermarket shelf. So that was really cool. Well, as the summer drew to a close, the general manager of this company offered me a position after graduation. He said if I came back with my degree, he would train me to eventually replace him. Well, to be offered a job in your third year was quite an honor, and I went into my fourth year assuming that my future was secured. Well, I'll tell you what happened during that fourth year. During that fourth year, all students were required to do an honors project in the lab. The food science program had just hired a brand new professor, Brent Skura, who interestingly enough specialized in food microbiology. Well, I still had some passion left for microbiology, so I approached Brent about working on a project together. What I discovered was that I was working in the lab was really exciting. I was given my own chemistry kit, and I could play scientist. This is what I perceive that graduate students do. I liked the lifestyle that graduate students had: work hard, play hard, not the regular 9-to-5 job. Well, by the time I reached the end of my fourth year, I was faced with a fork in the road: start a master's degree with Brent or take the job I had been offered in industry. Well, I went back to the company and talked to my manager, Henry, a very wise and generous man, who said that he only wanted me for the position if I didn't have any other distractions, that I should try out the master's program, and if after a year it wasn't to my liking, the job was still waiting for me. So I took his advice and I started my master's, and I never looked back. I knew from the time I started that I'd do my PhD. I discovered a love of teaching, and I knew that I wanted to be a professor. This is about passion. As a sidebar, I was Brent's first student. We were not only advisor and student, but also became great friends. Brent was always there to listen to me, and we had great discussions. When he asked me to do things, he never forgot what it was like to be a graduate student. I was very, very fortunate to have a great PhD supervisor who taught me to be surprised the first time I saw things, but to even be more surprised when I repeated the experiment and saw the same results. As I was nearing the end of my PhD, Dr. Powery, the person who had recruited me to food science, informed me that he'd been talking about me to colleagues across Canada, and there were positions opening up the University of Manitoba and the University of Guelph. Even though I was still a year away from graduating, I interviewed at both places, although I had in my heart going to the University of Manitoba. The department chair at Manitoba was doing research similar to mine, and mine was focused on fundamental research. And at that time, Guelph was more focused on applications-oriented research, so I wasn't sure it would be a good fit for me. I did, however, do a complete about-face after my interview at Guelph. The university had wonderful applied research and iconic food scientists, and people who worked there were wonderful. And one of those icons was David Stanley, a renowned food protein chemist, who had a great deal with convincing me to come to Guelph. Thank you, Dave. Guelph was also in a period where they were hiring young faculty members, and I felt I would be coming to a really cool environment. Is cool still a word that you guys use? I'm not sure. Well, I was fortunate to be offered both positions, and as history shows, I took the position at Guelph, and I've never looked back. There is an added story to this scenario. During this time, I had talked to one of my professors, Marvin Tung at UBC, about the two positions and my desire to go to the University of Manitoba if I was offered that position. I remember Marvin saying to me, "It's always nice to say no." And I said to Marvin, "What do you mean it's always nice to say no?" Marvin responded by saying, "Always do your best, since it is better to be in a position of being offered things and you having the ability to say no." I said no to Manitoba. I hope that you will be in a position to say no along your journey with job opportunities. Well, I grew up academically at the University of Guelph. I had the chance to pursue things that really interested me or excited me, for life is about passion. And I was blessed to have learned from some really great, interesting, talented people. Cherish and value the people you meet along your path. Thank you to the many undergraduate and graduate students, postdoctoral fellows, visiting scientists, colleagues, and those who I've touched along the way and who I've had the pleasure to work with. This honor is really your honor also. All of this experience prepared me to take on the role of Dean at the Faculty of Land and Food Systems at UBC. And as I stand here and look out to you all today, I feel I have come full circle. I'm excited for the journey you'll all take. None of you can really know what lies in front of you. Life will often take you in directions you don't expect. It is not usually a straight path. The top of the mountain may be your goal, and the mountaintop may change, but the road is often a number of switchbacks. As you embark on this new chapter in your life, my hope for all of you is that
you'll answer the door when opportunity knocks and hopefully apply some of the lessons I have learned. Throughout my career, I've been fortunate to have had and continue to have wonderful mentors from who I've learned many things. Lead by example. Be an active and good listener. Never forget where you have come from. Be a lifelong learner. Be passionate about what you do. Meet and get to know people, since the power of networking is extreme. And finally, don't be afraid of failure, since many lessons are learned from failure. Class of 2017, you are the graduates of the world-famous Ontario Agricultural College, the college on the hill. Visit and visit often. Please stay connected with the friends you have made here with OAC and the university. I wish you all the best as you start your next journey. Again, my extreme thanks to the University of Guelph for this wonderful honor. Thank you to my family and friends for sharing me, putting up with me, supporting me, your sacrifices, and your never-ending love during my journey. Before I end, one last comment. Parents and family, this is a day of celebration of the accomplishments of your children. If this is your first graduating child from university and you think they're off your payroll, it may be a few more years. Thank you all for your love and support. And finally, thank you everyone. Enjoy the day, the moment. Have a wonderful life. It's great to come home. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Ricky, for the insights, the inspiration, and the advice. I think we will all take things away from it. I'm going to take away, Mum was right, as mums usually are. It's very important. My name is Rennie Van Acker. I'm Dean of the Ontario Agricultural College, and it's a pleasure for me to be part of your convocation. Will the graduating class please rise? Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present to you these scholars who have fulfilled the statutory requirements laid down by the Senate of the University of Guelph that they may be admitted to their various and several degrees.
By virtue of the authority vested in me and in the University of Guelph, I hereby accept you for admission to your various and several degrees, with all the rights, privileges, and obligations appertaining thereto.
Will members of the graduating class please be seated? Good afternoon, graduates, proud family members, and friends of the graduates. I'm sure everyone here is very excited, perhaps a little bit relieved, certainly happy to see your graduate walk across the stage and be greeted by the president. And you may want to express your emotions in some audible manner. Please do so. Please yell, scream, hoot, holler, whistle if you can whistle. This is fine. But may we ask that the general audience please hold your collective applause until after the presentation of each of the degree programs. Thank you. Madam Chancellor, Mr. President, I have the honor to present to you these scholars from the Ontario Agricultural College that they may be admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Science Honors. Annie Margaret Bandura Sayer. Mark Gabriel Paul Sebastian Barber. Megan Michaela Elliott Bateman and Corby. Catherine Anise Bullock. Jamie Burns with distinction. Janice Ji Jen Chen. Daniel Lee Fawcett. Carlina Jade Hartshorn. Sarah Hollier with distinction. Lisa Michelle Indris with distinction. Cynthia Diana Korostos. Caitlin Victoria Jane Lawson. Andrea Melissa Luna. Lacey Angela Lynch. Kelsey Marie Hughes McIntosh. Virginia Ivy Madsen with distinction. Susan Mai. Chelsea Lee McBride. Catherine Elizabeth O'Connor with distinction. Christina Pazdior. Emily Lynn Priester with distinction. Caitlin Erica Reuter. Lauren Elizabeth Christina Steffler. Winnie Ta with distinction. Michelle Elizabeth Haley Thompson with distinction. Taylor Ann Vokes. Chelsea Rose Volkman with distinction. Alyssa Lynn Wagon-Leitner. Victoria Ann Wayne, with distinction. Shining Wang, with distinction. Melissa Sylvie Williams. Bailey Catherine Wintermute. Allison Wong, with distinction. Join me in congratulating these scholars from the Ontario Agricultural College. Madam Chancellor, Mr. President, I have the honor to present to you these scholars from the Ontario Agricultural College, that they may be admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Science in Agriculture. Megan Lee Gates Allure, with distinction. Caitlin Loreen Ayers, with distinction. Naomi Bata. Chad David Bender. Jennifer Ann Betzner. Aaron Wesley Bunin, with distinction. Riley William Bruce. Christina Louise Burke. Laura Ruth Bies. Megan Elizabeth Campagato, with distinction. Dennis William Catt. William Clay Chesney, with distinction. Erica Joanna DeBrouwer. Karen Marie DeBrun. Ernst Holger de Vries. Eric Jonathan DeVries, with distinction. Joshua Albert Dries. Jessica Kimberly Farr. James Troy Fari with distinction. Allison Janice Gothen. Amanda Carey Gofton. Cassandra Allison Laura Gorel. Mirinda Adriana Grass. Madeleine Linda Harbottle. Emma Jane Harris. Bridget Julia Harama. Katrina Jeschke. Amelia Ruth Judge. Rachel Nicole Kierstead. Jeffrey Allen Kerkvliet. Daniel Jan Kloosterman with distinction. Maria Teresa Kolkman. Serena Janet Lamont. Yu Xiai Li. Michaela Katerina Susanna Livre. Taylor Spence Lipset. Michael William Little. Zuya Liu. Emily Lauren McKay. Marnie Jean McKechnie. Samantha Edna McNeil. Caitlin Miller with distinction. Clement Haynam Mo. Francisco Morelli with distinction. Shelley Lynn Nientap. Christopher Peter Olbach. Caitlin Jean O'Neill. Michael Palermo. Mary Kate Elizabeth Pizzuti. Henry Prinzen with distinction. Casey Elizabeth Riddle. William Ringenberg. Valerie Elizabeth Robinson with distinction. Matthew James Rundle with distinction. Garrett William Schober. Peyton McNeil Smith. Brian Sotemans. Madison Janine Spike. Matthew Douglas Stewart. Jordan Daniel Thompson. Julie Heather Thompson. Alexander Keith Henry Thompson with distinction. Jocelyn Marie Top. Evan Paul Van Moorkirk. Niels Jan Van Welly. Kayla Verna Veldeman. Rebecca Jo Moretta Festergaard. Brianna Kathleen Walker. Jiang Yu Wang. Sophia Watts. Drew Alexander Wilson. Matthew Minyan Wong, with distinction. Lexi Marie Wright, with distinction. Please join me in congratulating these graduates of the Ontario Agricultural College. Madam Chancellor, Mr. President, I have the honor to present to you these scholars from the Ontario Agricultural College that they may be admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Science in Environmental Sciences. Izzy Ablakim. Haya Aldouri. Kristen Aaron Bill. Rebecca Mary Cameron. Larissa Ray Christie with distinction. Brooke Alexandra Cuman. Lee Alexandra Kogar with distinction. Natalie Frances Dale. Elizabeth Ann Elliott. Lindsay Fry with distinction. Kayla Julie Hayden. Jordan Diane Henry. Catherine Elizabeth Johnson. Olivia Bernadette Kaminsky. Krista Lynn Capitan. Anastasia Adrievna Lagonova. Colton Henry Luchter. Mir Sanjana Taranam. Please join me in congratulating these graduates of the Ontario Agricultural College. Madam Chancellor, I would ask you to confer the various and several degrees on the graduates listed in the program but unable to be present at this ceremony.
By virtue of the authority vested in me and in the University of Guelph, I confer the various and several degrees in absentia on the graduands not present.
Well, graduates, you did it. Congratulations. Well done. Well, let let me take this opportunity to welcome all of you to the Griffin alumni family. As you can imagine, this is a growing family, and this week alone we have more than 3,400 new graduates who are joining the University of Guelph alumni ranks. University of Guelph alumni now number more than 140,000 graduates around the world. As you can imagine, we are all very, very proud of your accomplishments here at the university and look forward to seeing how the foundations that you have developed here as a student will continue to support you in the years to come in your futures. We want to celebrate your achievements, want to celebrate your successes, and do hope that you will stay in touch with us and remember that you're always, always welcome here. Graduates, you have made, I'm sure, many memories here at the university during your time, including today's ceremony. And remember this as well. You are a student for a short time, but you're a Griffin forever. Congratulations. Now that concludes our formal convocation ceremony. The College Dean will be hosting a reception for all the graduates and their guests in Creelman Hall, right next door here. This really is an opportunity to mingle a little bit, congratulate the graduates, and we do hope that you can attend. And now, the final word is from our Chancellor.
Convocation is dismissed.
Congratulations, everyone. We know you're going to go out and do great things. We hope you'll come back often and inspire us with your achievements, maybe at homecoming, maybe at alumni weekend. Just any time you feel like visiting, come by. We're going to ask for a little bit of help. We're going to ask you to exit by the doors on each side of the front of the stage here. Students will go out first with their families following. While you're out there with your families, have some moments, get some great photos so you can remember this far into the future. And when you're done, please return your gowns and hoods to the tent. I'm going to ask you to turn around and turn up that cheer for all these people behind you that helped you get you here. You ready? Turn around and look at them and just do it one more time. Ready? You did it. Woo! Now you're dismissed.